What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Single Guy channel. My name is Lloyd. A very frequent question that I get from my viewers and clients is, hey Lloyd, what do I talk about with a girl that I just met? Now, this is something that I used to be very, very good at, and I used to do this all the time. And when you're meeting a person for the first time, what you're really doing is you're really seeing if that person is someone that it makes sense to keep talking to. If it makes sense for you guys to have some sort of relationship in the future, okay? You don't know for certain, you don't know for sure, but you're seeing if they're cool. You're seeing if it makes sense. Okay, so what I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you 5 things that I like to talk about to start the conversation and see if this person is someone that you probably want to connect with, or if it doesn't make sense, then you guys can go your separate ways, no harm, no foul, and now you have an acquaintance. Okay, so the 5 things that I'm going to be talking about are questions that you have. They're not so much things that you can use to create like a super flirty and have a lot of sexual tension or whatever. It's probably not something that you want to do at the very beginning when you start talking to somebody. You want to wait for that sort of stuff. What I would recommend is go by these 5 questions, and you're going to see if this person is a good person for you to keep talking to. And if you want to know how to keep talking to that person, I would recommend you check out some of my other videos. For instance, how to never run out of things to say is a great one. What to say, the 5 questions I ask every girl when I'm out is another one. It's pretty similar to this, but any of those videos can help. So let's get right into the 5 things. Number 1 is an observation. If you walk up and you start talking to somebody, it probably means that you noticed something about them. Maybe they're wearing a certain dress, or maybe they have a sweatshirt from a college that they went to. I like to comment and talk about something that I've noticed about them. And this encourages you to get more observant in your own life, which, I'll be honest with you, a lot of men are lacking when it comes to being observant. So when I walk up to somebody, I usually like to bring up something that I've noticed about them. Maybe their hair is all sandy and wet because they were at the beach. Maybe they're in their workout clothes. Or maybe they're dressed up for something, okay? These are all things that you can bring up and talk about. Now, if it's someone that you've just met that's out of nowhere, obviously make sure you keep your distance and make sure that they're okay with you even talking to them in the first place. Okay, the way that you figure that out is when you say hi, when you first ask the question, see how their body language behaves towards you. And if they're comfortable talking with you, then keep talking with them. If they're not, then just, give them a high five, or, thank them for stopping to talk to you for a little bit, and then go on your own way. Thing 2 is, if you can't think of anything in terms of an observation to talk about, I would recommend just going into a location-based question or a location-based topic. Okay, this is something that people usually talk about at the beginning. In a normal flow of conversations when people are meeting each other, at some point in time, they'll usually ask them, hey, where are you from? Okay. This lets them know if they're in the area. This lets them know if they live in the same city as you, or if they're visiting for the weekend. If I meet someone, especially if it's at the bar or if it's at somewhere else, I want to know if they're a native, or I want to know if there's someone who's just in there for a little bit of time. This changes the dynamic. If they're only there for the weekend, yeah, sure, we can have a little bit of fun, but I know they're going to leave. If they're there for a long time and they live really close to me, then we might even be neighbors. It would make sense for me to meet them anyway. Okay, so all of these details matter, and this is going to be the type of things that you should know to see if this is a person that you want to meet in the future, okay? But if they live far away, they're not really in the area for a while, then it might be good to just have this conversation and leave it at that. 3, interests. This is one of the things that I like to talk about right away if I can, or pretty soon after I meet this person. I want to know what their interests are. I want to know the stuff that they like to do. If they like to do the same things that I like to do, then hell yeah, at the very least I found a friend, or I found someone that we can do stuff with in the future. I want to know what kind of person they are. The way you can start talking about somebody's interests is you can ask them, hey, what do you like to do for fun? Now, sometimes I've found that this topic can be a little bit tough for people to answer right away. So I like to talk about some of the stuff that I like to do for fun right away, and then what that does is it allows them to start thinking about things that they like to do for fun too, because I shared first. Okay, now once you've done this, figure out some stuff that you guys can do together, or if you guys don't have any similar interests, maybe learn a little bit more about what those interests are. Sometimes people will tell me, their interest is underwater basket weaving. Okay, and if that's the case, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I don't know anything about underwater basket weaving. Tell me more about it. Like, what is it? What do you do? And it allows me to learn more about that person, and kind of be, still keep the conversation going. The 4th thing is relationships. People, you don't know who they are, but you know they probably have some relationships with people. They probably have friends, family, loved ones. Okay, I want to know about some of these people. You guys might have some mutual friends. In fact, if you do have mutual friends, that's one of the things that I would recommend that you start talking about at first, because it eliminates that stranger danger factor. Okay, now you guys kind of know each other or are connected in some way. So I usually talk about my friends, and that encourages maybe her to talk about some of her friends, or who she's with at that moment. Is she in the town visiting with her girls for the weekend? Is she living there, and does she kind of a homebody? She doesn't really have that many friends. Well, maybe you can be one of her friends. All right. So this is what I like to talk about at the beginning. It takes the pressure off her and gets you talking about your relationships with other people, because at the end of the day, our relationships make us who we are. 5, and the last thing is what she's doing right then. Okay, if she's in the middle of something, like she's late for work, you probably want to know that pretty quickly. Is she just in town for the weekend, like I said? Is she trying to have fun with her boyfriend? Probably want to know that too. That might be something you find out when you guys talk about relationships. All right, I want to know what she's doing right then, and if it makes sense for us to keep talking, or if it makes sense for us to keep hanging out. For instance, if I'm out at the bars and I meet a girl who's like on a bachelorette party, I probably don't want to talk to her because she's having fun with her girls, she's getting drunk, and she's in that sort of environment. I'm looking for someone who wants to meet me. And if that's the case, then I'll let her do her own thing, and I'll go do my own thing too. But if you say something like, if you ask her what she's up to right then, and she's like, oh, I don't know, I'm just hanging out and seeing what's going on, that probably means she's looking to do something fun later. Maybe it would be a good idea for you to invite her to do something that you're doing, okay? Very frequently I'll meet people outside, I'll meet people just kind of walking around, and then sometimes we'll just have a glass of wine right then and there and get to know each other for a little bit. It actually happens a lot more than you'd think. But if you don't ask that question, you will never see if that's on the table or if that's possible. Cool. All right, you guys. Well, those are the 5 things. Like I said, if you want to add stuff on top of that, like flirting and stuff, I would actually wait a little bit. You don't have to do too much when you meet them. The first thing, you're just trying to establish if there's any sort of like commonalities or interest, or if it makes sense for you guys to keep talking. So those are what these 5 topics usually try and figure out. And then if you want to add stuff to it, I would recommend that you take a look at some of my other videos to figure that out. Cool. Well, thanks a lot, you guys. If you made it to the end, consider subscribing. I come out with videos like this every single week. If you're interested in getting coached by me or for one of my courses, take a look down below in some of the sheets there. I think a great one for this would be the Practical Approaching System, which teaches you how to walk up and talk to anybody, anywhere. You can find that down below. It's only $67. Thanks a lot, you guys. Good luck out there.